Well, that was fun. Let's make sure everybody can hear me now. Okay, dokie. All right, so I think I should be live again. I'm using Restream now, so. Well, when in life things don't go exactly the way you plan, then you just adjust, and that's okay. All right. All right. All right, there we are. Okay. All right. Well, that was super fun. Okay. So anyway, talking about uh, Lead Brew, and Lead Brew is a platform I've been working on for quite a while now, and it's for my favorite people, which is small business owners, medium business owners, and entrepreneurs. And the problem that most of us ended up facing as we got things started, got things rolling, was that there really wasn't quite enough of us to go around. We did end up needing some help. We really needed an employee, but we're not quite at the place where we could hire them. So this is what Lead Brew is designed to help us as small business owners, entrepreneurs. It helps us make those steps forward by automating certain processes, taking some of those monotonous, repetitive tasks off of what we have to do every day, and make it more so that we can do what we were designed to do in the beginning, which is pursue the passion, start to run the business, whatever we were doing in the beginning. So this one should let me share my screen. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you kind of what we have built here. And so this is Lead Brew. What we have going on here at Lead Brew is we start you out with kind of these steps where we can help you get some of these things set up step by step, because the idea is we should be able to do this as quickly as possible. We don't have a lot of time as it is. I say we as in small business owners and um, entrepreneurs. So the idea is to put these things together as quickly as possible. So there's your dashboard right there. It starts out here. Now inside Lead Brew, we have built in the phone. You can get a number through Lead Brew. It can send the texts and messages for you. Uh, in this demo account, I haven't set anything up yet because we're going to go through and do some live tutorials and record some other tutorials on some other things. So I've left this one as a blank slate, but I've already connected the web phone, so I should be able to make calls. Within calendars, this on the website, it actually says that we're looking forward to releasing the 2.0 version. This is a 2.0 version, came out between now and then. And so this calendar hooks up to your Gmail or your Outlook calendar so we can kind of see what's going on. And then you can also set up the appointments. We can choose to add bookers. So if you have employees, salespeople, you can add them onto your team and make them one of the bookers people can book with. And these are the different types of bookings. We can create pretty much whichever ones we need or the ones that have booked so far. Here is where we can connect more, get the settings set up, and everything like that. Let's see here. So this is where we would add someone in. Right. All right. This is the database. This is where you would store all of the information. Fairly straightforward. The nice thing about the database is that it's hooked up to everything inside this platform. So when we move data around or we need data to move back and forth, it's one central place, which that's going to be important a little bit later on as we go further down, because a lot of us are using the Google Drive, we're using OneDrive, all the different apps that are available out there. And this is designed to replace a large chunk of that and keep it all kind of in one place. The idea is if you were able to log into LeadBrew, into your account in LeadBrew, you would have everything you need to run your business from this one platform. These are, if you're more B2B, this is where you can store your companies. And this is where we store that information as it comes in off of different forms and things like that. The forms here are, it's a big deal. Those of you who are familiar with Typeform or Jotform, you know that having forms that look good and collect information for you are super, super key. All the forms here, and this is our form builder, all the forms inside LeadBrew, not only can you use in LeadBrew in your website builder and your funnel builders, you can actually take them and embed them into other places. So for instance, if you already have a website you really absolutely love and you're not getting rid of it, that's great. Just make the form, embed it, and that form will still connect back to LeadBrew, and it will be able to make all of those automations and storage things still happen. Again, the idea was to make things as simple as possible, mainly for speed. So what we did in this web form builder is we put everything just based out here and you just drag it in there, whatever you need, right? Where's my favorite one? This is my favorite one. We have a purchase form and it's already built in. So a lot of this already happens without us having to super code anything different. We can add our coupon codes. We can ask for certain different pieces of information. And here is where we can choose, are we selling products? Are we collecting donations for something? Is this an opportunity for someone to, pay us what they feel like? There's a bunch of different businesses that do that. So, and then this is also a place where you can just collect the credit card and attach it to their account. Again, these forms can be put anywhere you can embed a piece of code. So that's always been exciting to me. Hopefully it's exciting to you as well. Otherwise, we just spent, 2 minutes on something no one cares about. So now pipelines, this is going to be really key, because pipelines is how we're going to decide how to move information. So if you remember those tutorials on the dashboard, as you can see, I have it set up here where this actually, this is what this is displaying. Wow, English, not so hot today. This is what is actually displaying on the dashboard. And when you complete them, if I can get my mouse to move, it's either that or nerves, right? When you complete them, it checks it off. So that's how we know that things are moving. If you have people on your team, there's team users you can add to your account. So if you have employees, you can add them to your account and give them certain accesses, and we'll talk about that just a little bit more later on. But so that's really, really, really key. And I'm gonna have to go back in later and put that back on because that's part of a tutorial. So one thing I do want to point out is that the phone stays with you on every page, no matter where you are, and it is draggable. So for instance, if this was in the way, I would just move it out of the way. So that was something that was really important to me and some of the testers, that it was able to be put where I needed to put it when I needed to put it there. This is the automation. So automation is everything. Everybody is really excited to not have to do all the work ourselves. And my favorite thing to do is to set things up so that when someone fills out a form, when someone calls, when someone sends in an email, I can set up formations, or I can set up automations. Do that too, preferably. And what it does is, when this is our template sign up form, so when someone comes in, we add a tag to them, double click. So we add the tag, they signed up, they paid. You can also add more tags here if you need to, just by typing them in. There's also a place where they're saved in a specific area as well, we can create more. It adds example context. In the tutorials, we'll get more into when you would use what step when, right? So don't jump into Lead Brew and then just start using this. This is more of a training tool. Then it sends emails for us, and we can do that by hooking up whatever email we have. Hello, come back, talk to us. Maybe don't. Give you money. Maybe don't. And you can redirect them as well. There's a lot of different steps we can add to flows. And I'm not going to go over them all here because that's a lot. And it's also great for a tutorial as well. But I did want to show some of these to you. So we can wait for certain amounts of time. We can deactivate people. We can add our APIs in. We can wait for someone to open the email or open the text we sent them before anything else happens. We can make it wait till next month to send another follow-up message. So the messaging, and these are just the steps that we all have available. Send the email, send the text, set the opt-in status, which is big for those of us who know what marketing through email and text messaging and SMS message is like. Okay. This is, I spend a lot of time in here because this is one of my favorite things, and it's also a great place for me to spend a lot of time. So as you can see, we did the forms. You can also make your forms here. You can do your A/B split tests on funnels. You can create a membership site. This membership site it's not done. I have a problem with making everything perfect before I launch it. It's there. It's working really well. It's just not quite everything I want it to be. But there's updates that are continually coming, and all of these features you see on the left, we call them standard tools. So all of the updates for these standard tools, they're free, they're included. There's going to be other tools at some point in time further on down. They're going to be underneath settings, and those will be optional for additional fees, additional costs with different partners, that type of thing. But all of these tools are standard, and they have free upgrades. So as I change things or update things, you'll get those. I do want to jump into here. My computer likes to run just a tad bit slower when I'm running a bunch of software, so you'll have to forgive me there. All right, so building websites, it is often seen as overwhelming or difficult to do. There's a lot of different advices out there about SEOs. There's a lot of different advice out there about what your hero section should look like and things like that. So just the thought process of building a website can be really, really overwhelming. And so again, we just try to make it as simple as possible. So as you can see, like I put in some templates here for you that you kind of start with, right? Obviously, having built what I built, a lot more SaaS focused, but they can all be adapted and changed. If you don't need a whole website template, then you can get all these different blocks and add those to your page if you'd like. And then what's really fun is if you work on something inside your website that you want to keep forever, you can save it as a block and it'll show up here. If you're building more than one website, you can save it as a global block, and you can find those here, and those you can put on any website you create inside your account from here on out. So again, it's not oh, there we go. It's not as difficult as it can sometimes seem. It's also not as easy as some other people can make it out to be. So just as something to be reminded by, that nothing's scary until you get into it. Much like live videos. If you're going to do a live video over something that you've been working on for months and months and months and in front of other people, that can be kind of scary. I wouldn't know anything about that though. So here's our template. Again, I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on this, but what I do want to point out is all of these are editable. Everything is changeable, even the menus. If you're making a template, we would need everything to be adjustable. This is also where we could add in all these different ways of connecting with people, right? There's our forms. There's the login forms, how you've forgotten the membership passwords and stuff, or membership sites, adding pop-ups, things like that. For those of you who are a little bit more focused on how things are layered in, like myself, we have these layer managers, and it will show you where things are kind of stored inside of what containers. And also we have it down here as well. So for instance, if you're just having trouble clicking on something and I just can't seem to get to it because it's so tightly packed, you could just go down here and select what you're trying to get to. Site setting. Okay, so this is how we're going to go with the SEO because that's a big concern. So you change your site name here. You can insert custom code anywhere into any of your websites that you want. So those of you who are a little more advanced, you needed a product that could kind of handle that as well. So you can insert code there. There's different interaction scripts, think chatbots, things like that. The robot text. This is if you're going to use like an AI chatbot, this is where that would go. This is something we're still working on. So, and it should be mostly functional. So this is if you're going to be advertising like over your GDPR and tracking everything that you can track. Anytime you can get a piece of information, that is everything. So we've made it so you can enable your Google Analytics in your Facebook conversion APIs. That is the site. This is the page. So again, SEO is a lot, and there's a lot of different changes that are happening in SEO. And the basic rule of thumb in SEO is be a human, write your own stuff. Yes, the AI stuff is really cool. You should use it as an assistive interface instead of doing all the work for you. But if your content is helpful, it's human, it's going to rank better. Just as a general rule, if you remember that, it's going to do much better. One thing I do want to point out is if you're building a website, do not change this slug from index for your homepage. It's something I'm working on getting around, getting fixed. But right now, if you change this, it will break things. We've also made it so you can do HTML or you can do it as no HTML. That'll make sense to tell me you're not. As part of your package, you can have the faster CDN. So if this is a more dynamic website, you can improve the speed of it. And if it's more of a static thing, you don't really need to. So there's our template, and you can add your keywords there. You can put in custom CSS. Again, you can add custom code, interaction strip, and there's your connections again. I feel like I'm just rambling on. All right. So besides these blocks that we can add and the layers we can see, this is also where we can add more pages. You can copy this page. So let's say you spent a lot of time working on this page and you want to use 90% of it. You hit copy, you go into page settings and you edit that all up. These are those different apps that we can connect in. And here we go. All right. This wasn't working for me earlier today. This is where you can add in that membership app and it'll create its own page for its own logins and things like that. So if you are selling courses and stuff, I have a course, I'm calling it an app, but it's not quite, but I have courses coming. So if you are someone who sells digital courses or educational material, I will hope to have that live fairly soon. The calendar became first priority. It's not perfect, and that's okay. One thing that's really cool is I always obsess over the way everything looks, clearly. And so when we need to adjust something, you can set your default palette here. And what happens is when you set your default palette, it changes things inside of what we're doing. So you can set your default palettes and change things inside with just basically clicking it here, rather than going and finding every single element that you want to change. And because that's really annoying and really boring, and I hate that myself, so I said we're not doing that today. We can also change our fonts here, and that will change the font for the website itself as well. And here, that changed. Oh, yeah, I wasn't paying attention. And all of our H1, we can change those individually as well if we wish. And then all the H1s that we use from now on will look like this. I'd rather that be white, actually, because there we go. Yeah, that works. And let's actually do, I like this one better. All right. I like that. Okay. I'm not actually building a website today, but again, there'll be more tutorials over this, and I almost got sucked into that. So another important thing is, what is it, like 75% of all web traffic is now on mobile. So you need your site to be really responsive. And what that used to mean was you would go to different breakpoints or pixel sizes and redo everything, which is, again, boring and repetitive, and I hate that. So we're not doing that either. So what we did is we made it so that it is responsive unto itself, and it will do essentially 98% of the resizing work for you. There's going to be a few things that don't come through just right, and you'll want to find those, but again, the 99% of the work being done is still pretty cool, in my opinion, but I'm probably biased or something. So there's all of that. There's a lot more to this, and some of the more in-depth tutorials we'll get into. One of the really, really cool things I want to get into really quickly, as I say really 5,000 times. In case you haven't noticed, this is really kind of a warm-up for me, so I apologize if this is boring you. So what we've done is we've gone through, and this website is built in sections, right? And because this allows us to move these entire sections. If I made this section, I'm like, wow, this would be so much better somewhere else. I can actually move it further down and put it here with a click and drag. Again, we'll get more into that in some of the other tutorials. But when you click on a section, you'll have this option. And here's our background. I don't want to use this picture anymore. So, all right. These are site assets. They come with the templates. There's different pictures you can use there. Here's system assets. System assets is every picture you've ever used. If none of these work for you, you can drag and drop things you've made specialty, or we've gotten hooked up with Pixabay, and you can find images right here. So let's say, see what comes up for that. That looks better. Let's go ahead and use that one. Think. Okay, so I'm not really a huge fan of the way this looks like I'm just flying right up into this bridge. So I'm going to adjust that just a little bit here. And actually, this is really messing with my font. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill this picture. I'm going to go into site assets, and it should be here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this picture the way I want it to be. And so I have a couple different options here. Again, we'll get more into these as we go through. But first, I just want my text to show up a little bit better. That's too much. Right there. Let's try that. All right. And let's get our new picture. All right, our text is white. Well, that's okay. We can change that with the tags. So everything we're doing with our website is supposed to be done inside. We don't want to go find other things, find other tools. Again, it's too much all at one time to go do so many things when I have, like, maybe I have minutes to get it done before I have to get back to work, or the phone's going to ring again, which, we'll just answer it here and keep working. So we also have the ability to insert HTML code, and you can download this, you can export it, you can take it out if you want. A lot of people who love using WordPress or Webflow, those who love using WordPress or Webflow will appreciate this. And then this is our file manager. This is where we keep those images. Again, in case you just want to kind of mess with images today and not necessarily mess with a website, get inside the website builder, and then you can mess with your pictures just from the file manager there. So lots of fun, cool things in there. Wrong button. All right, so let's pop out of here because there's a few more things we need to do or look at. And it's always fun to keep moving. Um, um, Here is where you're going to see all of the projects and websites you're building. And some of the accounts allow you to have so many. I tried to make it so that depending on what size and scale you needed, every single plan in Librew has access to all of these tools. It doesn't make sense to choke some tools off from some people when in reality, some of us are going to need only these tools. If that's the one that's cut off, and I have to upgrade to a higher plan, that just doesn't make sense. Really, honestly, it sucks. So what it is, in order for me to be able to offer it the most cost-effective way possible, is I gave you access to every single tool, but then I had to kind of like throttle how much of it you could use. And again, that's in the plans themselves. If you're a small startup entrepreneur, everything should be just fine or plenty or enough. And again, you'll just check that out on leadbrew.com, and brew is spelled BRU. So you can join the Lead Brew crew. T-shirts. We need T-shirts. Okay. Tracks. Here's how Tracks is built. Tracks is built so that I can trace what information came from where, what I did with it, how I moved it, and what the end result was. And so let me use this as an example because I'm not going to do a full-blown tutorial today. That's the form we're using. Okay. That's the item. That's the campaign. That's the trigger flow. Okay, so what we've done is we've made it so that. There we go. Okay. It made such great sense in my head. What we've done is when someone fills out this form, all right, it's going to go through this campaign where it adds some tags and it's going to trigger this flow, and that flow is going to do something with the data. Inside that flow, it can create pipeline items. And that pipeline item will show up for one of our team members. And that pipeline item is, call this person within the next 5 seconds or you're fired. And it can count the 5 seconds. It can't fire the employee, mainly because it probably gets sued over that. But it can count the 5 seconds. And if they don't do it within 5 seconds, then the flow says, oh, well, let's let the boss know that this person isn't doing their job. So then as you move things through pipelines, the flows are what listens for the events and creates things and move things around. So again, it made a lot more sense in my head. Now that I have to say it a lot. I'm going to have to work on how I say that a lot. Here's the phone. VoIPs, voice over internet providers, is really, really big. No one has a landline hardly anymore. And so there's a lot of companies out there that's like, oh, let's have you use our voice over internet provider service. And that's all well and good, but they're like wanting you to pay ridiculous amounts of money for it. And I understand that because it does cost per minute. But what I don't understand is why they're charging so much. And so what we did is we basically stripped all the extraneous costs out of it and streamlined it. And then the costs, so for instance, I think it costs 0.9 of a cent per minute to use it. Well, that's the best deal I could get right now because I have no members, no users. But I got that cost from the provider and I brought it straight over to you. I didn't mark it up for myself because money is already tight enough usually. So here's our phone numbers. We can add more phone numbers. We'll get here. And this is what gets really exciting because, a lot of us also have to use Twilio and things like that. We can send our text messages, our multimedia messages, and we can get more numbers and we can buy more numbers. We can buy more numbers and port our numbers. So when we buy our numbers, we're able to pick out the area code we want. I'm a Kansas native, that's why 785. It's going to tell me, let's see what numbers are available for me today. And then you can rename them. You can change the caller ID. you can send the inbound phone calls off of this number to a flow. So for my real estate investor friends or wholesaler friends, this is really great because you'll be able to have numbers for local numbers for your I buy ugly houses. Can I say that without getting sued? I buy houses that might need fixed up. Um, and you can send it to different numbers and track those, but you can pick them out here. It does cost 70 cents a month for a phone number. Pretty sure that's what it is. If you go to the website, I don't believe in hiding things in fine print. I don't think that's fair. It's really hard to make educated decisions on really tight bootstrap budgets when people lie to you. And that's really what happens is the people who build software platforms, they tell you all the great stuff about it, but then they lie to you to get you to buy it. And then when you finally do buy it, you're like, I can't use it for what I was told. That's why I'm doing these videos. That's why the website has brief introductions over each one, over each of these different tools. So check it out there. The extensions is going to be important because if you have people working for you or team members, you're going to need things to be sorted. And in one of the flows that we're going to build in one of our tutorials, the phone call comes in and the customer hears like, thanks for calling Lead Brew. Press 1 for sales, press 2 if you're mad, press 3 to get hung up on. And those can be different extensions, and those extensions can be attached to certain employees. The great thing is that that extension can be hooked up to a track, so we can actually track how well that employee does, how many phone calls turn into deals. I can track the value of the deals as they go through. And extensions is a big part of that. This is the voicemail where we get to listen to all the voicemails of all the people who are mad at us or hate us, and we can also listen to the recorded messages. In flows, we can record people who call. We can record them saying things to us, asking us questions, that type of thing. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be a voicemail. It can be just a flow recorded thing. Again, we can sort those by date. Call log. It's a call log. There's nothing special about it. It's a call log. And then upload recordings. This is where you can add your own recording. If someone calls Lead Brew, they're going to hear a computerized voice say, because I texted it in, thanks for calling Lead Brew. And I can choose. There's a couple different voices in there you can choose. I have one. There's some Australian ones in there. Like, it's just some fun stuff. But if you don't want to use a text-to-speech engine voice, you can record your own audio files and use those. Conference rooms. This is where we can bring a bunch of our people together with people from the real world or people inside the company. And we can put everybody together in one room and we can have those long conversations. Kind of like Zoom, but without the video. Let's not get ahead of myself, but Zoom coming for you too. Payments. How do we get our money? Payments, we can basically track what's happening, like what payments, what subscriptions, what our transactions are, and our reports are, things like that. We'll give you the example. So here's how we, this is what my subscription did, how many people canceled. And these are all things you can change and make however you want them to be. Clearly, it would need to be editable by you, so we can switch to our own data. This is where we can create what our invoices will look like, how many invoices we have. Let's see, we'll add our product here. I don't have any products, so that's not going to do us any good, but we can add our products and send out invoices. And there's actually a spot where we can create the invoice, if you remember, on the website builder, where we can like add our logo and all that kind of fun stuff. This is where we have our products hosted. You can add products as you go along, like in the website builder. There's been a couple times where I've been in the website builder. I'm like, okay, great. Now I'm going to add this product. Oh, I forgot to add the product. Well, one of the buttons inside there, when you go to the product side, if you hit a drop down, it'll show you all the products you already have. But if you hit the create and save, it'll bring up the product creation page. And you can create that product and not a whole bunch of extra clicking around. Coupons, this is, if you want to give out discounts, things like that. I'm working on it to be referral affiliate programs. That's big on the list where I'm working on that. Uh, you can kind of make it work with coupons, and in one of the tutorials, I'll show you how that works. But it might be wise to wait till I finish building that one out. But that is complicated. Hardest part about building these programs or these platforms is everything is so absolutely connected that one wrong thing can absolutely break everything. And that's why it takes so long. But that's also really fun for me. I enjoy chasing those things down. It's just hard to say, here it is, even though it's not done or perfect. So this is where we get to change some of the stuff. You can cancel your refund options, payment authorizations, how you want things to be done. All important details. Settings. So we have integrations available for you. There are things built into the platform that you won't need integrations for. One thing I do want to make clear, like with the email, by the way, buying domains, there's a lot of like different pricing out there. So here's what I do personally. I go to Google Domains, I buy my domain, and it's $12 a year. That's it. Because everything I have here can do the rest, right? We can get the email through the Google domain by using aliasing. So now it can say leadbrew.com, not leadbrew@gmail.com, right? That was big. That was big. But you can add in things you may already have and integrate them. Integrations are important and they're getting added. I would just rather build it internally because I feel like if you're going to pay me money every month to have tools, you should just have as many as you could possibly have and uh, make your life easier. The Dialogflow, for those of you that are familiar with Dialogflow, that is Google's AI chatbot helper. Different billing integrations. Here's the email integrations. Again, I have a little thing like, hey, we can do this. You can integrate your phone like Twilio. You can integrate your SMS already. There's a couple there, and some tracking like the Facebook conversion. That is pretty much in a 47-minute nutshell, along with delays, of what Lead Brew is. Um, so it's a labor of love, and it's definitely something that I wish I had back when I was starting all of my businesses and everything. And uh, that's Lead Brew. So yeah, I don't have a really clever like closing line or anything. So thanks for coming. Thanks for those who supported me through the messages and comments and stuff to encourage me to get it done. And we'll start doing more videos more often. So thanks for coming, everyone. Appreciate you. And let me know if you need anything.